Dr. Nikki B. Carci Cruz from Ateneo de Manila, the Philippines.
Okay.
Dr. Cruz, the screen is yours.
Yes, thank you. I'll be sharing my screen. It's so different from the presentation from Sophia University. The presentation that I will be giving is the combined thoughts of 5 people. So in behalf of Kendra, Joben, Skilty, and Randy, I am Nikki presenting for Ateneo de Manila University, but you will hear their thoughts because I will quote them as well. The Philippines has one of the longest lockdowns in the world. We have been on lockdown since March 2020. When we were put on enhanced community quarantine, the semester had to end abruptly. But even as the school ceased operations for teaching, the Ateneo campus opened up in different ways to respond to the pandemic. It became a shelter for frontliners, an isolation facility for patients, a site for COVID testing, and up to now, a vaccination venue. All these sound so benign. In truth, the pandemic hit the Ateneo community very hard. It brought a very distressing time of disease and death. Around this time last year, we mourned the shocking loss of Father Salty de la Rama, headmaster of the Ateneo grade school, who was found dead in his office. He tested positive for COVID-19, and this led to a lockdown at the Jesuit residence. But the Ateneo community couldn't just wallow in grief, while there were so many Filipinos in need of relief. The Ateneo community continued to respond to the pandemic by organizing donations for community pantries, carrying out relief operations for various devastating typhoons that kept hitting us over and over. So the combination of COVID outbreaks and natural disasters meant frequent disruptions for health breaks, mental breaks, academic breaks. Despite all these disruptions, in our discussion group, we came to realize how we've made great strides in terms of teaching and learning, even through this very tumultuous events. Randy reminded us that the pandemic had quickened the pace of transition to outcomes-based education. You see, by some luck, just 1 week before the lockdown was announced, all department chairs attended an intensive workshop on OBE, and amazingly, our plans, which we thought would meet with resistance and would take time to implement, were implemented faster than we anticipated. Faculty learned how to design and ensure correspondence among learning outcomes, teaching methods, and rubrics to assess student learning as required by online education. Ateneo was fortunate because we had the Ateneo SALT Institute, newly created under the leadership of Father Johnny Go. It was dedicated to the science and art of teaching and learning, and SALT had just completed their pilot certificate program on Jesuit higher education. A new batch of faculty had just been trained. Weeks before the lockdown, they completed their course. These faculty graduates, some of them are here, played an important support role as champions and coaches to help the community transition to online learning. An important feature of our transition to online education is our conscious effort to do things the Ateneo way. Thus, the Ateneo Blue Cloud, our virtual campus, as well as our vibrant community of educators and learners, steeped in the Ateneo brand of education and its culture and traditions, was formed. Faculty made their presence felt. For instance, there was this magisterial lecture series, which allowed the legends, the well-known teachers, to share their thoughts, not just to Ateneo, but to learners everywhere. Or there were these acts of magis series, which showed the various ways faculty engaged the pandemic from their own unique disciplines or through their research and activism. And then, of course, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, and then, of course, there's the classroom teaching online. Ateneo created its own framework for online teaching and rolled out an adaptive design for learning course. The adaptability we desired was to be able to use various modes of delivery, whether online, face-to-face, blended, and in the Philippine setting where Wi-Fi access is not always guaranteed, there were even printed learning packets to be mailed to people who needed them. The pandemic increased the demand for teacher training, and Ateneo SALT was ready to roll out a massive ADL course, not just for Ateneo, but for all Jesuit schools and universities in the Philippines. Self-paced and fully online, the program modeled for teachers what they were supposed to do when they created their own modules. So Joven Ilagan shares how, through the ADL, his teaching role shifted from being a sage on the stage to being a guide on the side. And the use of technology allowed him to create micro courses, serving as reusable modules throughout many projects. How did COVID-19 affect regional and international collaborations? Well, for Skilty, who was teaching a service learning course with me, he was an Ateneo Blue Cloud coordinator and an Ateneo Canvas coach. He was able to collaborate first within the university, linking a social science class with an interdisciplinary research class and the Big Kiss, or what is a formation class for service learning. Now, outside the institution, Skilty noticed that collaborations with institutions were made possible through Zoom meetings. So we were able to partner with organizations from all over the Philippines, from Luzon, from Visayas, from Mindanao, even in just the same class. In non-COVID times, these institutions would otherwise have been outside of the scope of potential partners. But since faculty members were all provided with free Zoom accounts that can take longer calls, it was easier to think outside the box in terms of potential partnerships with regional institutions and marginalized groups. Skilty even won a Pedagogical Innovation Award for a local portrait instrument that students used in studying different communities from all over the country. For Randy, while there were things that were canceled, some international in-person on-site course collaborations were canceled, there were new ones that were created. And he was able to pursue a joint student presentation for his development economics classes between Ateneo and Kyoto Sangyo University in Japan through video conferencing. For Kendra, she saw many new consortiums and networks, being put up together in the 2-year period. The International SECRA Consortium was launched in 2021. The original plan was to have 2 events yearly in the EU, UK, Philippines, Thailand, and Sri Lanka. But being limited to online meetings, while it made relationship building difficult because of the different time zones, they were able to accomplish their objectives at lesser costs and engage more participants through online webinars. And this was the case also for other new networks like the AUN-EEC, the ASEAN University Network for Ecological Education and Culture, and Prosper.net. For Joben, he was able to experiment with new teaching methods. One of his best classes, an applied business analytics course, allowed student groups to work on live customer requirements, which wouldn't have been possible during face-to-face. And they even wrote a paper on facilitating collaborative learning among business faculty and students in a purely online setting. In my own situation, I convened an international conference for the 500th year anniversary of Magellan's landing on our shores, the Quincentennial. And to my surprise, our original 2-day conference that we planned became a month-long affair, a 4-part conference series with daily panels and 100 role players from Asia, Europe, Americas, and Australia. And our audiences reached the hundreds of thousands through live streaming for free. So how do we reimagine the post-COVID classrooms and regional collaborations? We feel that the gains that we saw from the pandemic should remain. They are already there. They should still always be there. Things like our transition to outcomes-based education, things like the vibrant online presence in the Ateneo Blue Cloud, the adaptive design for learning, as well as various kinds of online collaborations. Right now, we are learning to flex. We are slowly returning to on-site classroom meetings. And our arrangement has 3 types of learning environments that makes use of online asynchronous classes through Canvas, online synchronous classes through Zoom, and on-site classes in the physical classroom. And teachers can strategically design learning experiences combining these different learning environments in various combinations, which I will not go into here. But the question for us is what learning activities might best fit the affordances of each of the learning environments. Kendra says that when we return to campus, we should capitalize, in terms of collaborations, we should capitalize on capabilities for online events that we have developed during the pandemic to allow us to reach more people at less cost compared to on-site events. What we need to do is to discern which types of activities would be best done on-site and which would still work better online. The return to campus need not mean a return to our old ways. We have unique opportunities to pursue new aspirations. And Ateneo de Manila is right now at that stage. There are Magis aspirations groups that are studying the feasibilities and plans for the next 7 years. These last 2 years showed us how much we can adapt and how much we can achieve. And that's my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cruz. Let us give our biggest virtual applause to Dr. Cruz. You're right on time, Doctor. Thank you. All right. Now let us continue to the third presenter, which is from Ateneo de Cagayan. Hold on.
Milbert Delago pa.
Yeah, I was looking at my notes. Everything is missing suddenly. I apologize. So, Mr. Milbert Dialogo, am I correct?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So you have around 8 minutes.
Good afternoon, everyone. We've prepared a video recording of our presentation. So I will just share the screen.
The past 2 years has been a learning experience not only for the students, but also for the administration and most especially for the faculty. The shift to online and flexible learning proved to be challenging to the students and faculty, more specifically in the delivery of the practical classes in the laboratories. Students were forced to use the online learning management system in eLearn and for the faculty to adapt to new technology for class sessions. Initially, the faculty felt overwhelmed, but with the help of the administration, specifically the Office of the Academic Vice President, the faculty were retooled on the strategies in the new mode of learning. Students tried to adjust to the new setup, from getting used to technology, challenges with unstable to limited interconnectivity in some areas, to motivating the students in their educational tasks. For the faculty, finding ways to make content in the classes to be creative, ensuring that assessments were well thought out, and maintaining mental health amidst the pandemic were some of the challenges that were experienced. The pandemic halted a lot of activities including off-site regional and international collaborations, but this also paved the way to new opportunities to access and transfer knowledge. Technologies provided new ways to communicate and strengthen partnerships by access to resources that weren't available initially. More and more faculty had opportunities to retool and learn new knowledge than ever before. Restrictions to limited budget in sending faculty to attend conferences were minimized to a great extent because of the online resources offered and availed. This has brought institutions closer, thus creating more collaborative efforts, not only locally but also international organizations. Making the programs delivered online with minimal changes to the educational fees provided more options to market the educational offerings to international students. Xavier University managed to handle the challenges of the pandemic well, from the transition to face-to-face classes to online delivery, to the formulation of new policies and guidelines for institutional delivery. Retooling was done to ensure the university was able to handle the demands of online learning, adjustments in the school year to provide time for the training of the frontline personnel, even in the management of finances and human resources. The university prepared provisions for work-from-home accommodations, technology allowances, subsidies to technology use, mental health venues to discuss challenges in the delivery of classes, and religious recollections and retreats, all to maintain and fulfill its mission to forming men and women of competence, conscience, and commitment in service of the Church, the global community, and the Filipino people. Amidst the pandemic, the university still opened its door to helping those who are in need with the different calamities and challenges experienced by other Filipinos in the area, from the typhoon victims, to assisting in the delivery of the vaccines to interested clients, to facilitating mental health support to those who ask for it, among others. This showed how the university still serves not only its constituents but adhering to the Jesuit mission to become men and women for others. Before the height of the pandemic, the university adjusted the school year to pave way for the training faculty. A series of online readiness trainings were conducted. The faculty recognizes the efforts done by the Office of the Academic Vice President through the resources curated and the forming of the task force that supported the faculty. The university created the Hub for Transformative Teaching and Learning, where resources for faculty use in delivering their classes, and a help desk to support the personnel. Smaller versions of training were conducted to enhance further the capabilities of the frontliners. The university also supported faculty with limited access to technology by devising programs that supplements what the faculty have, from technology subsidies, use of university resources, facilitating library support strategies, and enriching the existing digital library services. The university also decided to have manageable class sizes to adapt to the demands of class preparations and delivery. The study load of the students were devised in a way where both faculty and students can manage their time properly, and the regular semester was divided into 2 quarters. To ensure quality assurance, several tools were devised for the faculty to accomplish. By the second year of the pandemic, Xavier University strengthened its focus on the flex e-learning. Learning best practices from industry leaders were emphasized to improve further the services to the students. Trainings in feedbacking in the digital space, the use of OER to courseware development were emphasized. For the faculty, we see the pandemic as an opportunity to pivot strategies in the delivery of the university's programs. We see changes to how classes will be done, with technology having a major role to cater to on-site and remote learners. With these changes, the faculty also sees enriching more of the current competencies. The university has laid out plans to building the campus of the future, adopting changes to cater to more relevant demands and future-proofing its capabilities to easily adapt to future demands.
So on behalf of our team in Xavier University, we'd like to thank everyone for listening and appreciating our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Milbert Dialogo. Let's give a round of applause for Ateneo de Cagayan, or Xavier University. Yeah. Thank you very much. Now let us move on to the next presenter, which is from Fujian Catholic University, Taiwan, Ms. Jane Wu. Are you here, Ms. Jane Wu? Yes? Ms. Jane Wu. Is she here, Mbak Dixta? Okay, if not, then let us continue to the next presenter first. Let us invite Mr. Fidelis Gigi first from Akademi Teknik Mesin Industri Indonesia. Mr. Fidelis Gigi, the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for the time. Please let me share my screen. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the time. And please let me first introduce myself. My name is Fidel Sigi. I'm instructor in Polytechnic APMI Surakarta, and I have been working here since the year 2013. So today I will share my educational experience of mechanical engineering technology program during COVID-19. So me personally, I'm from a mechanical engineering technology program, so I will be talking specifically about my department. Ladies and gentlemen, we in Polytechnic APMI Surakarta, the Mechanical Engineering Technology, or MET, is home to approximately 200 students. So our student here can pursue 3-year degree in MET with a typical graduating class of approximately 70 students per year. The MET program also delivers service courses such as engineering graphic and engineering mechanics to several other programs in college. Aligning with our MET program state goal of applied design and analysis of engineering systems, our students in MET take a significant amount of credits assigned from the laboratory. So the 3 years MET program has various labs and of course various lab components. One of the commonly identified difference between mechanical engineering technology and engineering in general is the focus on the application. To put it in layperson terms, MET tends toward the hands-on approach of engineering concepts. And of course, however, the COVID-19 preventive measures forced our campus closure, and we have very limited access to many of the resources that make engineering technology education so unique. So in that time, distance learning was thrust upon a population whose pedagogy was largely founded on the idea of in-person participation. So no more could a student operate a machine, and it's not run by the student learning how to carry out the design instruction. The CAD, the CAD, and CAM process were not done at the proper workstation, but instead we do it through bulky remote access. And also, machining process that is our core were only simulated and being assessed virtually. So we regularly instructed our students with, hey, you try this, or instead telling our students to, you watch this. And one of our biggest challenges was how to convert material that was meant for in-person to online. And however, the biggest thing that I personally missed was the interaction with the student in lab. I feel that the environment was not as interactive and the student tend to be not as engaged. Our course content was delivered virtually with the lab video recorded showing how the lab will perform, of course by us instructor. And then the data were collected and sent to the student. Of course, seeing other people doing it is very different from someone doing it on their own. And right now, our current situation is we use a mix of completely remote, a hybrid, and in-person teaching. And it was really challenging to streamline our curriculum and consider several uncertain criteria, including prioritizing content and scheduling for modalities, and then accommodating distancing protocol, and the consideration of provisional material in the event conditions have changed. Enrollment in the courses was based on pre-COVID-19 rule. So our capacity of some lab courses had to make substantial alterations. As for example, a course with 24 students enrolled was scheduled in a lab that had a maximum of 16 people in it to meet social distancing requirements. So therefore, the class list was divided and in half. So the student will be attend in 2 different schedules. The first hour of the scheduled lab time and the half attend the second hour, which keep the number of the people in the room at maximum of 13 people. So basically, our main preference as mechanical engineering is we still want to use in-person teaching because we really depends on the hands-on approach because we are in the professional school, so it's very difficult to do everything via online. So we strictly implement our COVID protocol to ensure our mutual safety. And we do a mass vaccination that is held in our campus and with the collaboration of our national army. And so I can conclude 3 things about our current status. So in this past year, the student flexibility in changing circumstances was largely observed to be an asset. The student was very helpful and they understood the challenge we face as instructors in such an extraordinary time. And also the compulsory use of new technology really demonstrates its usefulness. The shift to the remote personally forced me to learn a lot about online classes. And of course, I gained a lot of experience by it. My video lectures has improved over time. And I feel that I improved my lecture slide quite a bit because I had to add more multimedia content to keep them engaged or help them visualize the concept. And the last one is right now, our mix of completely remote, hybrid, and in-person teaching has been proven to be the best method for us. So this is how we deal with our current situation post-COVID. And I will be very honest, we in Polytechnic APMI Surakarta, we haven't have a lot of regional collaboration experience. So I can say a lot about that. And this is for now, this is everything I can say about our condition. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fidelis Gigi. Let's give a round of virtual applause for Mr. Fidelis Gigi.